just make sure that you have watched the part 1 and part 2. In case you haven't, then I've linked it in the description box below. Watch that first and then you can watch the part number 3. Okay, so what did we see in the previous chapter? Let's first quickly discuss that. Before starting this video, make sure that you have a notebook, a paper, calculator with you, and you are solving the questions along with me. So what did we see in the chapter? We saw the definitions of everything, and then we saw how to classify the costs. How do you classify costs? On the basis of element, it is material, labor, or expenses. On the basis of nature, we saw direct and indirect. On the basis of function, it was production and non-production. And on the basis of behavior, we saw the graphs as well, the variable cost, the fixed cost, the stepped fixed cost, and the semi-variable costs. All of this we already saw in the previous previous video. Alright, and then we saw the graphs. We saw what variable costs were when we read it in the detail. And then moving on, we also saw the fixed cost, the stepped fixed cost, the semi-variable cost, and we saw how it behaves with the changes in the level of activity or the level of output. And then we also started with the high-low method. What was the formula of the high-low method? The variable cost per unit will be derived as total cost at high level minus total cost at low level divided by total of output level high minus output level low. By doing this, we used to get the variable cost per unit. And then this is the test your understanding we did. Okay, now start solving the illustration number 4 along with me. I will also do, but first you solve it and then you can just discuss it with me or check your answer with mine. Alright. So we are going to do the high-low method the same way like we did in the previous questions. The only thing we need to see is there is a step fixed cost in the question. Alright, so read the question properly. There is a step up of 10% in the total fixed cost when the activity level exceeds 5,500 units. So we are given the activity levels, we are given the total cost levels. What are we supposed to do? We are supposed to find the total cost at 5,000 units. So first what we will do is we will mark it. We will mark where the change in the units took place. So where did the change in the unit take place? 5,500 units. Where does that lie? It lies between 4,000 and 6,000, somewhere over here. So the changes took place after that level. Before that the fixed cost was different. After that the fixed cost was different. So the fixed cost of before was X. The new fixed cost after that level was 10% plus X, right? X plus 10% of X. This is basic unitary method. This is basic stuff, right? It's given in the question that the fixed cost changes after the first level and it would be more 10% more. Right, so first using the high-low method, normally let us find the variable cost per unit. I hope you're solving it along with me and just check it with me. I'm not going to explain much over here because we have already discussed this multiple times. So variable cost per unit is going to be high level cost minus low level cost divided by high level output minus low level output. By doing that, you will get the variable cost per unit. All right, so what is my fixed cost? How do I find out my fixed cost? So my total cost 54800 is given by new fixed cost plus the total variable cost. Total variable cost is 3.20 multiplied by the number of units, right? So by doing that, we'll get the new fixed cost. You know what new fixed cost is now, right? It would be 10% more than the previous fixed cost. So 54800 would give me. So like this, I am finding out my new fixed cost. So naturally, you know that my new fixed cost is going to be 10% more than my previous fixed cost. This is basic maths, right? I hope you're all solving it. So my new fixed cost is going to be 30800. All right. So how do I find out my old fixed cost now? My old fixed cost is X, right? X plus 10% of X is going to give me 30800. Simple, right? Look at the question again. It needs the total cost at 5000. The change in the fixed cost took place after 5500. So here my old fixed cost will be taken into account. What is my old fixed cost? X plus 10% of X gives me 30800. By doing this, I'll find the value of X. What is X? X is basically my old fixed cost. By doing that, I'll be getting my fixed cost, and now to the fixed cost I'll have to add my total variable cost for 5000 units. By doing that, I will be getting my total cost at 5000 units, and I think you can do it by yourself. Okay, now we are going to do the high-low method question, but here instead of the fixed cost, the variable cost is going to change. Again, this is pretty simple. You can do it by yourself. So just check your answer with mine. Here what we are going to do is the output level and the total cost is given, and we are also given that whenever the volume becomes above 350 units, in that situations my variable cost falls per unit. So make sure that you read the note very clearly in the bracket. It says that this fall applies to all unit, not just the excess units. If this note wasn't mentioned, then I would assume that only for the excess units I am going to have a new variable cost. But it is mentioned in the question very well that if the output is more than 350, then the variable cost of all the units is going to change. It is going to fall, right? So first, what are we going to do? Take the high and low method and then find your variable cost per unit. By doing that, find your variable cost, and then you can find the fixed cost, and after that you just have to find the total cost for 450 units, which would be the fixed cost plus the variable cost per unit. That would be my 10% subtracted multiplied by the number of units. Very simple. Now do it by yourself and check it with me. Read the note again. It says all the units above 350. So I hope you got how to do it. Now I'm just adding it and I'll get the answer. Now we come to the test your understanding 8. Here the questions is giving us the output and the total cost, and we are also given in the question that if the output is more than 80 units, then another factory must be rented and the fixed cost will increase by 100%. What do you mean by 100%? It means that the fixed cost is going to double. Variable cost will also rise by 10%. That is also given in the question. So we need to find out for the total cost of 100 units. So let's just normally find out our variable cost per unit and increase it by 10%, and let us also find the fixed cost and let us double the fixed cost. And how to find the total cost? The total cost would be the doubled fixed cost plus the new variable cost, which would be 10% less, multiplied by the number of units, which is the 100. That's so simple. Let me just solve it. Now check it with me. Variable cost per unit would be high level minus low level. Okay, that should be 7310 minus 6566. And my output, high level output, would be 50 minus 26. Alright, just do it. Now we come to what the advantages and the disadvantages are of the high-low method, which we've been following so far. So, first thing is that it relies on historical data, right? So, sometimes that can lead to incorrect information. We can't really be always focusing on the historical cost, and it assumes that the activity levels are the only factors. However, there are more factors too. It assumes only the highest and the lowest. So many, there are things which need to be given into consideration which are in the middle also, and bulk discounts is something which this method doesn't take into account. So these are my advantages and disadvantages. Now we come to cost equations. This is nothing, this is literally a first grade concept. You just have an equation where there is a meaning for every variable, and you just need to keep that in your mind. So this is something which we've already done. Y is equal to a plus bx. Okay, this is what we've been doing. What is the sum of total cost? Total cost is equal to fixed cost, total cost, right? Y is the total cost. So what is the sum? Total cost is equal to fixed cost plus total variable cost, right? So a is my fixed cost. This is what we've been doing to solve the high-low method. And what is bx? Variable cost. So where, so vc per unit is b, x is the number of units. This is what we've been doing so far, right? So it is that simple. It is the same concept again. So A is the intercept. A, fixed cost, is the intercept. What is intercept? Intercept is what cuts the y-axis. Keep that in your mind. A is the intercept. Okay. Intercept which cuts the y-axis. Okay. B is the gradient or slope of the line. So B is my slope of the line or the gradient of the line. X is the independent variable and y is the dependent variable. Keep that in your mind. So you just need to know that a is the intercept and b is my gradient, and x is the x is the independent variable and y is the dependent variable. Keep these in your mind and just apply it straightly in the questions. It is really simple. There's nothing to worry. We've been doing this so far. Y is equal to a plus bx, which is nothing but total cost is equal to fixed cost plus variable cost per unit multiplied by the number of units or the level of activity. Okay, so they just gave a graph and they just plotted the graph, so this is nothing you can ignore. Okay, a is the intercept and b is my variable cost per unit, or b is the gradient. Keep these two terms in your mind. The questions are so simple. Just check it with me. I'll be starting with the questions. So we are given the equation b. So a is 8,000, b is 40, right? What is fixed cost? 8,000, obviously. Y is equal to a plus bx. Substitute the values now. A is the fixed cost. 8,000 is given. So fixed cost is 8,000, obviously. And then we have the variable cost per unit, 40, given in the question. Total cost for 200 units. Just substitute the value of x as 200 now. That's it. Now you'll get the total cost. It's that simple, guys. Now we have another function, y is equal to a plus bx, the line that would cross the y-axis. You know that that is the intercept. What is the intercept? A is the intercept. So my answer is 1488. The gradient of the line. You know that b is the gradient of the line and that is the variable cost per unit. So my answer is going to be 20. Now what is the independent variable? Independent variable is 20. You know that, right? Sorry, is the total activity. After 20, whatever is written, you know that it is x. And dependent variable is the total cost, which is y. You just have to keep these four things in your mind. Again, everything is given. Y is equal to A plus BX. The fixed cost is 4800. The variable cost per unit is 8. The total cost for producing 100 units, substitute the value of 100 in X, you'll get the answer. So that's it for this video. Thank you.